I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Hello, everybody. It's Oops, the podcast. Welcome. I'm Giulio Gallerati. I'm joined, as always, by the wonderful Francis Ellis.
Hey, friend.
How are you, man?
I have to always hide my self-view on Zoom. Otherwise, I watch myself the whole time. Do you hide your self-view or do you keep it up?
I do gallery, but I don't look at myself the whole time. I go back and forth.
I think it's actually more humble that you don't have to hide it, because if I have myself up there, I just watch myself the whole time.
It might not be humble, though. That might just be you being insecure. Like you want to make sure you look okay.
Whoa, okay. Ooh, insecure. Okay. Starting hot. Okay, insults. I didn't expect that.
That was not
this early in the podcast. Okay, all right.
How are you, dude? Like, how are you? Like, actually.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. My manager's assistant that I'm very close with called me today, and he was like, you got to bring us more stuff. And I meaning, I have to like create more things for them. And I had not considered that. I hadn't considered that me not doing enough meant that he might not have enough work to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was sort of a wake-up call. Because a lot of my mentality through all of this has been to just sort of like endure. Just endure.
Right.
Just do your best, do my job well, and weather the storm.
Right.
But there are people who are getting ahead. And if you aren't getting ahead, you're falling behind in a way.
Right.
So that gave me some anxiety, and I had not felt that much.
Fair, dude. I completely understand. I'm on sort of the opposite end of that, where I don't have anybody right now representing me, and I feel like it's a hard time to get ahead in that category as well.
Well, yeah, but I think a lot of it depends on like what your job and your life is. I mean, if stand-up is a huge part of your life, there's simply nothing to be done in that regard. And
but as far as creating projects and stuff, like we all do that,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I'm all right. We had pizza night last night, and I get really excited about that. And then the pizza was lackluster. And you go from expecting this incredible moment and night and this holiday in the middle of your week. I think that disappointing pizza on pizza night can actually be more harmful to your psyche than not having pizza night at all.
So let's backtrack a little bit with this. Why was it such a surprise? Did you order from a new place? Did you make it? Like, what were the variables? All
right. So we had been getting our pizza night pizza from Maine Beer Company, which makes really, really good beer. And they've got a wood-fired pizza or whatever. The first week that we got it, fantastic. Knocked it out of the park. Delicious. The next week that we got it, horrible. Terrible. Just insipid, bland, floppy, tasteless. It's as if somebody took a T-shirt gun and fired the toppings on with no regard for distribution or anything. So we kind of said after that, we were like, all right, well, fuck this place. We need to try a new pizza place. And so the next week we tried a new one. And then this week we tried a new one again. And the reason we found out that there was such a drop-off in quality from week 1 to week 2 of the first place was that we found out that their pizza chef, who had been cooking their pizzas for a long, long time, quit in between week 1 and week 2. And he quit because it sounded like he quit and they were like, we're not going to be able to pay you as much or something. We're going to have to cut back a little bit. And then he, in the middle of this, and he was just like, you know what? Fuck that. And walked out. He'd rather have no job than, less of his original job, which brings up a good question. I was reading that a lot of people who have filed for unemployment in all of this are actually making more money than a lot of people who have jobs still.
Interesting.
That people who were furloughed or laid off, they're getting paid severance and then they filed for unemployment, which is like whatever, $600 a week or something. I could have my numbers a little bit wrong. And that it all comes out to making over a $75,000 a year salary.
Sweet.
Which is pretty substantial. What do you think about that? I mean, should we try to get fired? I mean, like,
I think it's a great opportunity for people who do what we do to get unemployment when they typically can't. And I think that's a really nice thing that exists because it's definitely a desperate time for quote unquote gig workers and self-employed people. You know? So, I think if you got a job, keep your job, but it's something that can, it's so helpful.
Yeah.
So, cause that's the thing, man. Like, even when things start to happen again, it's just going to be so long until it's just cooking like it used to be. You know what I mean? Like the pizza guy to bring it all together.
Pizza guy. Yeah.
Cooking like the pie.
Hey, are you on Cameo? You know Cameo?
I am actually.
Do you ever get any bites on there?
I did one recently.
How'd it go?
It was great. Someone asked me to tell them a story that I hadn't told on the podcast yet. And
wow, you're holding stories back.
I did. Well, I hadn't gotten to this one yet, but it was kind of like a behind the scenes of one of the stories, actually.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, if I had known that you needed, $50 to give us your best stuff, I would have.
$100.
You're charging $100
for Cameos, yeah, dude.
What the hell? What the hell? Where do you get off? I mean, where do you get $100? Dude, I'm charging $50, bro. And I'm not saying that, like, I guess I should be charging like at least 75.
I mean, dude, listen, just, people will pay for value, man. How much do you think you're worth, bro?
I'm crushing these things. Problem is sometimes people ask me to like write them a song. And that's like a much taller order than just like coming up with a funny story or a rant to tell someone. I had to come up with a song for some people.
$50? That's like very undervalued.
Yeah, but I just improvised the song.
Right. I mean, you can make a tiered situation.
I was wondering about that. If you want, like, the soup and the nuts, you're going to have to pay $150. If you want a little, song and dance. But if you're willing to have me just be like, happy birthday to you, lady, your husband got this for you, and I'm thrilled that you're 39 today. Boy, time flies, right? Fucking hell. Dude, the thing, though. Here's the thing about Cameo, okay? It's a ridiculous – I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting concept. I don't think – I'm not selling myself here. I don't think that anybody should really be paying me to say hello. I think that I'm accessible enough that if people DM'd me – and I'm probably undercutting my market here, but that, I would probably just respond and say – like, hey, whatever. Having said that, their people at Cameo, the people who work for that company, are the most relentless people I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, they are definitely persistent.
Dude, there's a guy who just texts me. He just texts me and he's like, listen, man, there's a lot of demand right now. I think you'd crush it. Like, you should do this. You should do a few. And then, because I like canceled my account for a while because I just thought I was like, whatever. but now I'm back, and now I've got like 9 lined up, but I'm only charging $50. I didn't know that these people were just ripping me off.
Well, 9 is good, dude. I mean,
Dude,
listen.
I am the child laborer of Cameo. I'm a little Taiwanese boy knitting Nike sneakers on Cameo right now.
Dude, I think, listen, anybody listening to this podcast, if you're a big enough fan that you're listening to this moment, I will do your fucking thing for free, 100%. DM me, be like, if you want some shout out or whatever, it's not a big deal. Like when I've done the cameos, if I'm like doing some story or something, I try to like really get into it and do like a long one, you know what I mean, make it worth it. But yeah, if you guys are ride or die, you don't need to pay money to get shout outs.
See, I think what we're doing here is really bad for our business. I agree with your statement, but basically we just said that a commodity that we are charging for, we're willing to give away for free.
For loyalty, bro. We're building the Oops Army.
Yeah, but we can't know if the person who asks us for a special shout out is actually a listener or just some person, looking for a free ride.
Right? No, it's true. But you could be able to it's case by case basis, man.
Okay, so you're saying that we'll give out free shout outs, but they'll have to prove through some like a multiple choice quiz about Oops the podcast, like 20 questions going way back. They got to get at least 17 of them right.
That's funny, man. It's like, yeah, what, like multiple choice question. What does Francis's girlfriend call him when he gets too stoned? That's so funny.
What's the name? Oh, that brings up a good point. You know who came back into the mix the other day?
Who?
Noah.
Oh, wow. Love it.
Remember Noah?
Oh, yeah.
People ask me about Noah more than anybody else that I've talked about on the podcast. Noah DM me, right? Now, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. It's nothing to write home about or get too hard about. But Noah wrote to me yesterday at 6:35. He wrote, "Hi, Francis." And I wrote back, by the way, I waited like an hour and a half because, I didn't want him to think I was super easy.
Totally.
So I'm playing hard to get a little bit with this 14-year-old. I wrote, "What up, my dude?" Totally cool, right? And you right? Okay. So he right. So that's it. That's all we've got for right now. But dude, you know what I noticed was he's playing the long game.
Yeah.
We're playing the long game with each other. It's like, who's going to bend first? You know what I mean?
It's probably going to be Noah. He's going to bend over.
A boy can dream, right? Speaking my language here. But here's the thing. I noticed that he's been commenting on that original clip we posted of me saying that I wanted to pipe this kid. And he's been like a lot of people wrote comments, and then he's been like responding to a bunch of them. Like someone else was like, I hope it's going to happen or whatever. And then Noah wrote like, "Oh, he's getting there." Hilarious. Like, giving me breadcrumbs to keep encouraging my advances. But, look, at a certain point, I have to protect my heart. You know what I mean? Man. Like, I think he's being a fuckboy. He's truly being a fuckboy. And I'm not falling for that.
This is your heart, man.
That's right. At some point, I have to let Noah go, and I have to move on to greener pastures, perhaps younger children.
We'll see. The Noah saga continues, dude.
Yeah. We should get him on the pod. Although I don't know. Maybe that's
get Noah in there.
Too much.
Get him in the hot seat.
Yeah. I don't want him to feel like he's made it,
Make him earn it.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I was going to say, speaking of listeners, I wanted to give a shout out to Danielle, who just came back from the Peace Corps in Comoros. If any of you guys can point to Comoros on a map, you are a fucking geography whiz. Because
is it a country or
it's
is it
a country? I believe in the Indian Ocean.
Wow.
And it's very small. And she had mentioned that the rodents there are so aggressive that you literally need to like fend them off in your own home.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. And she is now back from the Peace Corps, and I just thought that was pretty impressive.
Let me ask you something. What does the Peace Corps do?
That's a great question, man. I think they peace, dude.
Do they peace people out?
They piece it up.
They just bring peace to everyone. Like they're like the end of a Christian mass where they're like, peace be upon you.
I think they just help out.
With
right?
what? Houses? Because that's Habitat for Humanity.
Right. I think there must be some overlap with the mission statements of these different groups. I think they like go and help and maybe bring medicine. I don't know, dude.
No, you're thinking of the
Red
United
Cross?
Nations.
Right.
Oh, not, yeah.
I guess
You're right. The Red Cross. Yeah. So do they only go to war-torn parts of the world?
I don't think, and I might be mistaken, but I don't think that Comoros is a war-torn place. I think it's just poor and isolated, and I guess they need help.
And riddled with vermin.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some disease or whatever. I don't.
No, you said that they said that the rats are super aggressive.
In your house, dude. Like she said, she'd be going to the bathroom.
Which makes me think that they are the Peace Corps. One of their jobs is pest control.
Maybe, dude. The Pest Corps.
The Pest Corps. Okay, so far, what we've figured out is that the Peace Corps they handle pests, and rodents. They're a rodent control service.
Dude, she would have to sing. She would have to sing to keep them away from her. When she was sitting on the toilet, she would have to sing, or they would start bothering her and harassing her.
Like they're bears. Because in the woods, when you're hiking in Yellowstone, you sing and yell so that bears don't get startled by you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I always wondered if I was going to, because I went hiking in Yellowstone once, and I worried I was going to sing a song that they liked and that they would actually come join in, you know?
Bears are scary because they're so big, they're so fast, and they can fucking climb, right?
Yeah, they can climb. They
trees?
can climb really well. But you know, man, I'll tell you, baby bears, bear cubs, those
cute.
are awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. They roll around, you know?
Yeah, dude.
They're
By the way,
around.
when I was in Yellowstone, I had something really scary happen. We're outside of the car, and a bison, there's buffalo, bison, whatever, everywhere, as you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one kind of started trotting towards me. And, the trot can become scary. And
Gallop, yeah.
I'm close enough to my car that I sort of like start going over to my car, and I actually get in the car, and Benny, my friend who was with me, ran into the woods. And this buffalo runs right by the car, and dude, I swear to God, the buffalo side eyes me like this. It was insane. And it was one of the most fucked up things. We should make a clip out of this, actually. That would be funny. Whatever. Regardless, the buffalo side-eyed me as to be like, you got away this time, dude. Next time.
But here's a question, right? Buffalo, their eyeballs are so big and round that kind of in a way that they're always giving the side eye.
Right. That's fair.
You know?
Maybe.
I think as long as you're facing them somehow and you're not behind them, they're going to be able to give you the side eye, but maybe not.
We'll look at the footage. We'll look at the footage and see.
I saw the pictures of you smoking the cigs in Jordan.
Dude, those are terrible, man. The sepia.
Your pants. I had so many pairs of pants like that.
They're awful.
Can you imagine where our heads were at, where we would go to a store and try on that pair of pants and be like, perfect.
Yeah.
Say no more. I'll wear them out, you know?
Dude, I know. I was really piecing it together. That's a hard time for a young man in today's society. 24 years old. You don't have any money. The hot girls who used to be in your ballpark are now getting gobbled up by like established 30-year-olds, 35, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And like the second you're just pushed into adulthood, and now you're a fucking boy, dude. 2 weeks ago, you're taking bong rips on your couch in fucking college, living the dream, and now you're trying to work and make it happen.
Well, you know how it goes when you're in high school as a freshman. all the freshman hot girls date the seniors.
Exactly.
And then once you're a senior, you want nothing to do with those old, bedraggled senior girls anymore. So now you date the freshmen. So life for freshmen, for girls, is here, and then guys, and then it goes like that, right?
Right.
But then you
There's a
get
lot
to
of that.
college, and it happens again. It restarts the cycle. And then you get out of college, and those 22-year-old girls want to date established, wealthy guys who, have books and stuff. And I guess the question is, in the grand scheme of dating, who is at the top of the pecking order?
Dude, I really believe that this idea of being at the top of the pecking order and trying to get to the top of the pecking order in all facets of life is just a dead end, and you're never going to get there. If you have that mentality of attempting to achieve perfection, whether it comes to being the most dateable person, the most whatever, like, it's not going to happen. You're going to be unhappy. You have to accept that you're not going to be able to be the most dateable guy ever. You're not going to be the rich, young, ripped, fucking, it's hard. And even if you are, it's going to be for a very short period of time.
Right.
Okay,
well, all right. That didn't really answer my question, but it was a very noble thought.
Well, what's your question then?
My question is this, right? So you look at a guy like Hugh Hefner, right? Who had all the money in the world. He somehow had convinced these really young women to marry him and date him all the time. And seemed like he had a revolving team of women who would have sex with him, even though he was 60 years their senior.
Right.
But the problem is that at that age, I'm sure his virility has gone down a lot, so he can't even take advantage of it as much as one would have liked. So
he's freebasing Viagra, dude.
Yes. Yeah. Was it the roast of Hugh Hefner where I think Gilbert Gottfried said that he had to tie popsicle sticks around his penis to create a splint?
That's great.
I think that's what it was. But my question is, right, so is it Leonardo DiCaprio? I mean, he's kind of the one we always point to, who's in his 40s, has tons of money, fame, and still has that youthful energy enough to actually go a few rounds with the Nina Agdals of the world.
Right. And he's wearing headphones while doing it, by the way.
Is that true?
Yeah. Multiple girls are like, he wears headphones while he was wearing headphones when he had sex with me.
Wow, that is deeply impersonal.
Yeah. Dude. So, dude, this is okay. So
I can't have a conversation with someone if they have headphones in.
Think about what happens to those guys, though. Each generation has that guy, the it guy. They all end up just becoming really disgusting. Brando, Jack Nicholson,
but
and now Leo is going to become that guy.
Clooney didn't,
but Clooney's different.
married a fucking civil liberties lawyer who
he's married.
Yeah, is one of the most impressive women on the face of the earth. Amal.
Totally. But again, so if you're arguing Leo is the pinnacle, always single, always bachelor, it doesn't seem that great, to be honest.
No, I think he's gone over. He's jumped the shark, right? He's gone beyond. He's gone too far. Is Derek Jeter married?
I don't know. I
think he is, but I think he married one of those models. I don't know. Whatever. We're this.
No, but so back to your what is the original question? The question is what's the best time to be dating? What was it again?
All right. So if we're following that original train of thought of, when you're a high school boy, you're a freshman, it's bad. You're a senior, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
For girls, it's the inverse. Same happens in college, and then same happens when you graduate from college. But you're talking about those recent female grads, 22, 23-year-olds. They're not going to date a guy. I mean, unless they're crazy. They're not dating guys who are older than 35, right?
How old is this girl? 20? Yeah, I guess it depends on a few things. But yeah,
whatever.
Probably.
Yeah, I think a 12 to 13-year age gap at that point, you're starting to stretch. So at what age is it the best for a guy to, what's the best age to be dating as a man in his lifetime?
Right. I guess.
And I don't mean like seriously dating. I mean single and,
I think your age, dude.
You think you're too old for it?
I think that I'm not too old for it, but I think that your age is perfect. Like I'm what, 2-3 years older than you?
You're 33, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 31.
So I think, I guess 31 is nice because you're not 33 yet. 33
What's the difference?
The difference is in 3 years, I'll be 36. In 3 years, you'll be 34. There's something significant about that to me.
Yeah, but I also look at 36 as a totally fine age.
Agreed. It's a fine age, but when you're 31, 22-year-old girl is not a stretch. The same way a girl your own age is not a stretch. When you're 36, a 22-year-old girl is a stretch.
It is a stretch.
So I just mean, and I don't mean that dating a 22-year-old girl is the goal. I mean that, it gives you flexibility.
It's okay. So that's a great point, right? What is the widest swath of age range that is acceptable to date? Like as a man, at what age do you have access to the largest cross cut of age where not that many people will be like, that's weird?
I think literally 31, dude.
Because you can date 9 years your junior, and you could probably date like 5 or 6 years your senior, and not that many people are gonna.
No one's gonna say shit.
So that's a 14-year range.
You got it all. And dude, honestly, you could date an 18-year-old at 31 if you wanted.
No,
if you're crazy enough to want to do that, it would be a crazy thing to do, but you could.
18's too young. That's crazy.
I agree that it's too young. I wouldn't want to do it, but you theoretically could do it.
If I started dating an 18-year-old tomorrow, my friends, all of whom at one point were absolute, sailors, would come to me and be like, you got to reconsider this.
Why would they do that, though? That's
because
annoying.
that girl hasn't gone to college yet.
She's in college.
She's a freshman?
Freshman in college.
I don't think I could date somebody in college right now.
I
even
couldn't.
A senior.
I personally could not. But if you came to me one day, love your girlfriend, no disrespect to her. If you came to me and you're like, I fell for this 18-year-old girl, I would say, fucking swing for the fences, buddy.
And then what? I'm gonna walk her through buying her first beer. I'm gonna be her chaperone for a couple years.
Yeah, that'll suck to have to try to relate to her friends and like go visit her at college for the weekend.
Her friends. Oh, think about hanging out with her friends.
It would suck.
Kill me.
Does anybody need more alcohol? I'm going to make a run. He's such a loser, dude.
Dude, they'd be TikToking and they'd be MySpacing. I don't know what they do. I have nothing in touch with that generation. 18-year-olds.
I did it for a second, man. I was 25 dating a girl in college, and it was really fucking hard.
That's not so bad. It's not so bad, but it was hard, just to your point about how hard it is to date somebody that young. It was really challenging to keep up with the rapid pace of her changing. Yeah.
That was so hard.
Right.
It was so threatening. Yeah. Every week she had a new thing that was her new thing. She went through all these phases. She thought she was fucking Korean. She was speaking Korean words. And then she would go, dude, I swear.
Wait a second. Wait.
She's Korean. She started doing this. Oh.
No.
I swear to God.
Wait, was she Asian at all?
No, bro. 0% Asian.
So that is straight up cultural appropriation.
Massive
right?
cultural appropriation. Bro, she would do like racist shit too. Like we'd be at Starbucks and she would talk to the guy behind the thing and she would start speaking Korean at him because he looked Korean, and he would be like, my name's Chuck. Did you not see the name? Like, I don't speak Korean, dude. Like, this is really offensive.
Hang on. How good did she get at speaking Korean?
She could say 5 words, dude.
That is how long did you date this person for?
We dated on and off for a few years, dude. And
oh my God.
Bro, listen though, then this is the thing. So I would get used to that, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like she started thinking she was a rapper, and in the middle of the night, she'd be half asleep, bro, and like it would be cold, the air conditioning would be on, and she'd be like, "Yo, can you turn that off?" I swear.
No.
I swear. And now she's a wonderful, adjusted adult. But during this time, it was really hard to keep up with these phases and being the older guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I had some transformations, some identity musical chairs when I was younger. I think everybody undergoes that, but they were certainly not as dramatic as this chameleon that you were dating.
God bless her, dude.
Yeah, well, here's my question, right? So, my question is like, why was she choosing such dramatic identity changes?
So she went to the Rhode Island School of Design, RISD.
Yeah, it's
Which
the best
is-
art school in the country. Yeah.
Yes, it's heavily attended by Korean and like Eastern Asian kids.
I didn't
So
know
that could have had something to do with it.
Okay.
Also very artsy, obviously, whatever. One thing I always found funny, I liked all those kids a lot. They were really nice. But in being so different, they were so adamant about being different and like criticizing things that were different or that were all the same. But then they ended up just becoming all like each other.
Yeah.
So they were almost sort of like doing the exact thing, but just in an artsy way, you know?
And not only that, but to cling to an identity of I refuse to adhere, I refuse to embrace homogeneousness. That in and of itself is an identity.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you're not seeing reality at that point.
Totally.
Dude, that is so funny that she thought she was Korean. Did you watch Tom Segura's special, not the most recent one, but the one before that?
No.
Oh, it's one of my favorite ones. It's one of my favorite comedy specials ever. And he talks about how there's this like disability or this disorder where you can suffer a pretty traumatic brain injury and then come out of it like speaking with a completely different accent. And that happens.
It's crazy.
And it sounds a little bit like what your girlfriend underwent.
Insane. Well, but here's the question. Is the accent like just because of a brain thing and it sounds like an accent, or is it literally just like you suddenly have a Russian accent specifically?
So the way he describes it is that there was a woman in England who grew up in a very, very small neighborhood, one of those like Kent or I don't know what it's called.
Right.
In the Cotswolds or something, never left her village, never traveled far, got hit in the head by a truck or something, and then woke up and was speaking English as a Chinese woman.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not going to do the accent because that's how you get in trouble, but
Oh my God.
he
crazy.
does it and it's hysterical. And but she's not speaking Chinese.
Right.
I don't think you can just matrix
Of
that
course, of
information into your brain.
Right.
But
To have
to
the
then
accent.
to speak that way, it's just insane.
That's so funny, dude.
Well,
Jesus.
let's we have a great reader email submission that I want to talk about. Is that okay with you?
Of course.
We talked about Saudi Arabia in our last episode, and we have this wonderful correspondent named Hatim, and I've spoken with him. You've now spoken with him. He's reached out to to us a couple times about potentially performing in Saudi Arabia, but he has a great story, and he sent us this long email about an Uber ride that went awry. So I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. Okay. He's down in Los Angeles for business. He works in finance. He had a meeting set up with an asset manager. Finished the day at about 5:30, and he ordered an Uber. After a little while, it comes. He gets in. Heavy set driver. Doesn't talk much. Our buddy Hatim says, "Hola," No response. They're leaving downtown LA in traffic, and Hatim notices that the guy's taking the longer route back to the hotel. So Hatim asks him if he can stick to Google Maps to avoid the traffic. The driver ignores him again. 5 minutes later, they are in a ghetto-looking area. Spray paint and liquor stores, crack addicts walking around. It's beginning to get dark. The driver, out of nowhere, says, "Excuse me, sir, can you get out of my car, please?" This obviously makes no sense to Hatim. He goes, "What's up?" And the driver goes, "I need you to get out of the car right now. I'm having a panic attack." So Hatim starts freaking out, thinking that they're going to have a head-on collision. He quickly buckles his seatbelt and tells the guy to relax. You'll be fine. But that he can't get out of the car because the neighborhood is too dangerous. And then the driver freaks out again and says, "Get out now, get out now." Hatim says, "I'm not getting out. I'm in a suit. I'll get jumped and maybe gang raped." Okay, so Hatim, a little extreme.
Skid Row's bad though, dude. Like those, if he's in the areas that I'm thinking of.
I don't know LA that well, but yeah.
Downtown LA, you make a wrong turn, you're in a very, very bad situation.
Put a pin in that thought because I want to talk about that as soon as we're done with this. So Hatim tells the driver, "I'll pull over and I'll drive." The driver agrees. So now Hatim is driving himself. He starts sending his friends selfies. The driver reclines his chair and ignores him completely. He tries to ask him how his life is and what's going on. The Uber driver tells him he's been driving for Uber for 2 weeks and he can't handle random people getting in his car. Then he tells him about how his ex-wife is troubling. It's not going well. Hatim starts speaking some Spanish to him. That calms him down. Then the driver asks if he can pull over so that he can go out into the trunk to get some beers to sip slowly on our drive back to the hotel. Hatim says, "Fuck no, I'm not getting a DUI driving your Uber." And then he says, "Well, maybe one beer wouldn't hurt." So I asked him what kind of beer he's got, hoping he's got some IPAs or something. But all he had are Bud Lights. They go back and forth about the beers. Hatim tells him he should pick up weed or CBD. The guy doesn't care. Goes back into full anxiety mode. Then he took a nap. They pull up the hotel relief. The valet opens the door, thinking he's the Uber driver. He gets out, walks into the hotel, and the valet guy laughs. And there's a very funny picture.
The picture made it for me too, dude.
Yeah, to prove that this actually happened, where Hatim is in the driver's seat of the Uber, and the guy is sitting back like, "Oh, I can't take it anymore." Just full meltdown.
Chris, if you could put that picture in the YouTube, that would be great.
Yeah.
So funny, dude. What a crazy situation, bro.
It's pretty wild. I mean, we talked about this in the pod before, but I had a somewhat similar situation where my driver fell asleep while we were on the highway.
Yeah.
And I had to grab the steering wheel and pull us back because we were drifting towards the median and like oncoming traffic, even though there was a barrier. And I pulled us back because I was sitting in the passenger seat. We had 3 other friends in the back, and we pulled over to the breakdown lane, and I switched over and started drive. I drove us the rest of the way while our driver slept.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Fucked up.
But here's a question I wanted to ask you from all of that. Well, first of all, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it seemed the story to me seemed like bullshit until the picture.
Yeah, I agree.
Picture, it checked out. The whole I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree with that. I mean, it's you kind of we've all taken so many Ubers, or a lot of us have taken so many Ubers, especially if you live in a city, that you become accustomed to how professional it is, and you just assume, you forget that there's a human being driving you in a car. Right. And the reality is you have no idea how qualified this guy is. I don't know what the test is to become an eligible Uber driver.
Totally. And especially out of New York, man, it seems to be way less standardized.
Yeah.
Like in New York, you know what you're getting pretty much every single Uber. They're all the same. There seems like there's some kind of higher, because everywhere else I take them, it's just like some fucking guy.
Yeah. Who,
Who's
was
weird a lot of the time.
who was watching TV and saw the Uber signal and decided to get off his couch. Like in Maine, if I ordered an Uber, it's not going to come for 15 minutes.
Right.
Because the guy has to drive to come pick me up from 4 towns over.
Right.
And who knows what he's doing over there?
100%.
He could be hunting.
Dude, yeah, it's weird.
So this is my question. Bad neighborhoods.
Yes.
I don't really know when I'm in a bad neighborhood or not. Because I've been in parts of New York where, it's not as if I see crazy, like if you're driving through a bad neighborhood, how do you know you're in a bad neighborhood?
Honestly, there's some ways, because there just aren't that many bad neighborhoods in New York anymore, but there are still, and you're in one when you start seeing shit like police towers.
What are police towers?
They're kind of like makeshift like things that they're like there's you can be at the top, and I don't really know how to describe it, but if you saw one, you know what it is. It's just like, it's not a permanent structure. They like set them up, it seems like, for security or surveillance or something, and they're like high, they're like 100 feet or something, 50 feet, I don't know.
Do they put
also,
people up there with like sniper rifles and stuff?
I don't know. I don't think so, but like, if anybody who's listening, if you know what a police tower is, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions from this episode.
Google it, maybe. We can
Know
Google
about
it
the
and check it
Peace
out.
Corps too.
And get some more info on that. But also helicopters.
Oh.
And also, if you just start seeing a shit ton of projects, dude.
Okay. All right. Well, that
or
makes
kind
sense.
of like infrastructural decay. If you just see a lot of like shitty abandoned buildings or just like rubble or
Yeah.
in New York, at least. I'm sure it's different place to place. In LA, it's very obvious when you're in those bad neighborhoods of downtown.
Why? Because of all the things you said?
There are tents. You can't even see the sidewalk because of how many tents there are. There's people just walking around in the street. It literally looks like the apocalypse, dude, on 6th Street and like Skid Row and shit.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that seems a little more apparent. Yeah. Wow. Because, I've driven through bad neighborhoods, but I didn't necessarily know. People talk about it like, oh, this is a bad neighborhood. I'm nervous. It's like,
right.
What actually happened? And maybe this is a totally ignorant, white privileged thought, but if you just keep fucking driving through the bad neighborhood, I don't know.
You're fine. No, totally.
Yeah.
Being in a bad neighborhood doesn't mean that you're necessarily just going to start getting shot because you're driving through.
Right.
Unlikely.
You don't want to go buy, if you go buy drugs in a bad neighborhood, that's asking for trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But even, I hear stories all the time of people driving down Skid Row who got their windshields smashed and like all this crazy high, nutty people whose brains are fried from the sun, just roaming around the streets like zombies, acting crazy.
Yeah. That sounds bad. I don't like that. Oh, well, what else we got? Anything else? I'm down to call it a day, buddy. That was we did a lot there.
Guys, thank you for listening to the fucking podcast. We really appreciate you.
We do.
And, please tell your friends if you like it, and we're still growing, and we want to be so huge.
Yeah.
And, we'd appreciate your guys' help doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Recommend it. It's easy listening. We have a good time. We enjoy all of you guys and your submissions. As always, please email oopsthepodcast@gmail.com or just DM the main account, Oops the Podcast on Instagram.
But before we wrap up, Francis, what do you got planned for the weekend, dude?
Oh, dude, golf courses are opening.
You gonna hit it?
Hell yeah. I'm going to go play on Saturday. I might even play twice.
18 or 9 or what?
Oh yeah, I'll go the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Do you always play 18 when you play usually?
No.
Just when you have time?
Yeah, it depends. It usually depends on how easy it is to get to the golf course. Like if I'm making a trek out somewhere, I'll probably want to play the whole time. But if it's an easy ride over and there aren't that many people on the course and I can just zip around, maybe I'll just play 9.
Awesome. Well, dude, I would love to play with you sometime. I'm just good enough that I won't be too much of a burden.
That'll be a blast, dude. I mean, you kind of had to lower your level to play tennis with me, so it's.
I think you are better at tennis than I am at golf, but I'm okay.
Hey, I'm not some. I don't expect. The only thing that bothers me with playing golf with people, like with bad golfers, is if they are relentlessly hunting for their ball.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
As long as
I'll
you
let it
just
go.
like say, all right, that's gone. Let's move on, and you keep the pace going. I'm happy to. I don't care.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're perfect. Also, one more thing. I am very upset to hear that I've been cut from Summer House.
Dude, I know, right? And that was that episode, the one that aired yesterday on Wednesday.
Yeah. And dude, I heard that the G-Wagon that I had driven over in, that I had borrowed, made the cut, but I did not.
And did they mention the G-Wagon?
I think a friend of mine texted me saying he saw the G-Wagon, but he did not see me. So
that's horseshit, dude.
the car wins again.
Damn, it's like you were good. They were good enough to have your prop, but not you.
I know. Next
Too
time,
bad.
Francis. Next time.
Hell yeah. Hey, we'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great weekend.
All right, man. You too. Have a great weekend.
See ya.